There's a before and there's an after. Sometimes your whole life changes in one decision, one moment of clarity, one conversation that you didn't expect to have. People call it a quantum leap, and I've experienced it myself. In this video, I'm going to share 3 principles and 3 practical strategies for creating your own quantum leap. Not theory, not fluff, but the exact shifts that I've used in my own life and the research that backs it up. And by the way, if you're in that place where you're craving change, but you're just not sure how to start, I have created a free 5-day challenge called The Reset. It'll give you the structure and momentum while you create the conditions for your leap. The link is below. So let's dive straight into it. Here's the first principle. You don't leap to a new identity, you leap from it. Most people wait for the evidence before they give themselves permission to change. They think, when I've lost 20 pounds, then I'll see myself as a healthy person. Or when my business is making 6 figures, then I'll see myself as an entrepreneur. But it doesn't work that way. Your identity comes first. Your reality follows. When I first started showing up as a creator, I didn't have proof that anyone cared. I was still working as a doctor. My YouTube channel was tiny, but I had to decide, I am a creator. Not I'll be one once I have 100,000 subscribers. No, I had to claim it first and then start living from that place. And this isn't just motivational talk. Neuroscience backs this up. When you consistently align your actions with a chosen identity, your brain literally rewires itself. The neural pathways strengthen, the behaviors become easier, and soon enough, your external reality starts to match the internal identity that you've been building all along. So if you want a quantum leap, you have to begin by asking, who do I need to be? Not what do I need to do? The second principle is this: discomfort is the doorway. A leap isn't comfortable. If it feels safe, predictable, and linear, it's not a leap, it's just a step. I learned this lesson early in my career in one of the hardest seasons of my life. During residency, I worked 100+ hour work weeks. I remember one night I was completely exhausted, and just as I thought that I would finally get some sleep, my pager went off again. I buried my face in my pillow and cried, and then dragged myself to the ER to see a new patient. That season felt unbearable, but looking back, it taught me something important. Growth never comes from comfort. That deep discomfort was the crack in the shell of my old identity. It was the signal that this was not a sustainable way to live. Psychologists sometimes call this optimal anxiety. There's research showing that performance and growth actually peak when we step just beyond our comfort zone. Not too far, but far enough to stretch us. So when you feel the discomfort, don't see it as a sign that you're failing. See it as the evidence that you're in the right place, because that's where the leap begins. And here's the thing, you don't have to navigate that space alone. That's exactly why I created The Reset, my free 5-day challenge. It's designed to help you to use that discomfort, not run from it, to channel it into a new structure that supports change. So if you want to join, the link's below. Now, the third principle is this: one decision can collapse time. We often think change has to be slow, incremental, painstaking, but sometimes the very moment you decide, things accelerate. I'll never forget the clarity of the moment that I decided to leave medicine. For years, I had been turning it over in my mind. Should I? Shouldn't I? Maybe I'll wait another year. The indecision was exhausting. But the day that I finally said to myself, I'm done, something shifted. I felt this surge of energy and relief. That one decision compressed time. It set off a chain reaction. Doors opened that I couldn't even have imagined before, simply because I was no longer straddling 2 worlds. And there's research that backs this up too. Psychologists have studied decision fatigue. This is the idea that constantly postponing choices drains your mental energy. But once you commit, that energy is freed up. Your focus sharpens and your actions align. Things that felt stuck start to move really quickly. That's the paradox of the quantum leap. The external results may take weeks or months to show up, but the real leap happens in a single decision, the moment that you commit. So ask yourself, what's the decision I've been avoiding? The one that if I actually made it would change everything. Now let's talk about how to actually do this, because principles are great, but I want to give you 3 practical strategies that you can start using today to create the conditions for your own leap. Strategy 1 is create a future self container. A quantum leap won't happen if you're just drifting. You need a structure that holds your new identity in place long enough for it to stick, like scaffolding around a new building until the foundation is strong enough to stand on its own. For me, this looked like creating a 90-day container for my YouTube growth. Instead of waking up each week and thinking, what should I film? I created an editorial calendar. I mapped out the weeks ahead, I batched my filming, and I locked in a clear rhythm. And then I did something that most people skip. I tracked the results. I paid attention to what actually worked, what flopped, and I iterated. That container of structure plus feedback became the launch pad for a huge leap in my channel's growth. And this isn't just my personal system. The research backs it up. Psychologists call this implementation intentions. That's the science of making specific plans about when and where you'll act. Studies show that when you do this, your likelihood of following through increases dramatically because the decision has already been made in advance. So if you want to create your own leap, build yourself a container. It doesn't have to be 90 days. It could be 30 days, 60 days, whatever makes sense for you. What matters is that it's long enough to force you to live as your future self now instead of waiting until someday. The second strategy is to intentionally design the conversations and environments that shape you. Because here's the truth. Most quantum leaps don't happen in isolation. They start with one conversation that you didn't expect to have, or one room you almost talked yourself out of entering. When I booked a private coaching session at RADA, I thought I was going to learn a few public speaking techniques. What I didn't expect was how much the environment would shift me. Just walking into that historic building, knowing the great actors who had trained there, and feeling the weight of that legacy, it immediately elevated the way that I carried myself. And working with a coach in that space, it didn't just teach me skills, it gave me permission to see myself differently. That one environment shifted my trajectory, and the research shows why. Social scientists talk about social contagion. We don't just pick up accents or catch yawns from the people around us. We also absorb attitudes and behaviors and even levels of ambition. If the people in your circle think small, it's almost impossible for you to think big. But if you put yourself in a room where leaps are normal, your brain recalibrates its idea of what's possible. So here's the question to ask yourself. Who do I need to be in conversation with? What rooms do I need to be in? Because your environment is always shaping you. The only question is whether it's shaping you by default or by design. The third strategy is to practice micro leaps daily. Because here's the thing, a quantum leap isn't always just one big cinematic moment. Most of the time, it's the result of dozens of tiny, almost invisible leaks that stack up until suddenly, boom, you're in a whole new reality. When I first started uploading videos to YouTube, almost no one was watching. Honestly, it was awkward. I felt like I was just talking into the void. But every upload was a micro leap. Each time I hit publish, I was casting a vote for my new identity. I am a creator. And over time, those small, uncomfortable leaps compounded. It wasn't glamorous, it wasn't viral, but those tiny, consistent actions were what built the bridge from who I was to who I wanted to be. There's solid research behind this too. Habit researchers like James Clear talk about how every action you take is a vote for the type of person that you believe you are. And the more votes you cast, the stronger that identity becomes. Eventually, the balance tips. Your brain stops arguing with you, and you simply are that person. So don't underestimate the power of micro leaps. Send the email that you've been putting off. sign up for the class, record the first video. It doesn't have to look impressive to anyone else. What matters is that it's aligned with the leap that you are creating. And honestly, sometimes those tiny leaps are the hardest ones to take because there's no applause, there's no instant payoff, but they're the foundation. They are what make the big leaps possible. So let's pull this all together. A quantum leap isn't random. It's not magic. It's the result of 3 principles. Identity precedes reality. You claim who you are first. Discomfort is the doorway. If it feels safe, it's not a leap. And one decision can collapse time. Clarity accelerates everything. And you create those leaps by supporting them with 3 strategies. Building a future self container that holds you accountable. Engineering conversations and environments that stretch you. And stacking micro leaps daily until your new identity becomes undeniable. You can't always control when the leap happens, but you can absolutely control the conditions that make it inevitable. And here's the truth, your next leap is probably closer than you think. It might be one decision away, one step, one moment of courage. If you're ready to start building the conditions for your leap, then join me in The Reset. It's my free 5-day challenge that will walk you through the process of creating structure and focus and momentum so that you can move from just thinking about it to actually doing it.